Now it's time to be dangerous. Now it's time to get risky. Now it's time to truly find out what you're made of and what you could achieve. Now it's time to truly find out how many lives you can impact. Now it's time to find out what you were destined to become.
Welcome back, everybody. It's another Monday night, another fucking crazy weather out there to be filming an episode, but here we are. And not only that, Eric is dying from the inside out, just so everybody's aware. He may take a brief moment to step away and relieve his insides to the outside. It's a grim way to start the episode, but whatever. I'm your host, Anthony.
And I'm Eric.
And we are Raw Minds.
We are. Yeah, so if you see me step away, it's because I had to go say hello to the toilet. So, yeah. I've been really sick for the last couple days here. But you know what? The show must go on. We do this rain, shine, sick, you name it, holidays. This shit keeps on going, man. So we're here. We're pushing through and we're making shit happen.
Yeah, man.
That's what we're about, man. Raw minds, raw.
And you want to know something? I was on our YouTube analytics on the weekend and I noticed something. 90% of the people who watch our videos aren't subscribed. So why don't you just do us a little bit of a favor and just hit that subscribe button? It's one click for you. It means the fucking world to us and it helps us keep doing what we're doing. And not only on YouTube either. Follow us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, anywhere, any social media. And I saw you signed us up for a new beta app on the weekend, Eric.
I did.
3.5 or whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard about that, so I thought maybe we'll check it out.
Yeah, jump the gun on
TikTok,
that one.
I guess.
Yeah, let's get on it.
Why not?
Yeah,
man?
if you guys could follow us, and if you're listening on whatever streaming platform you're listening on to, please just leave us a review. That would help push us up the rankings as well. We would greatly appreciate it.
Definitely. Appreciate it all.
Yeah.
Ooh, what a weekend, though, man. I'll tell you that. And then you, too. You were sick, but you're looking a lot better, definitely.
Yeah, man. Yeah, just, I don't know if it was a bit of, like, mental, emotional, and physical. I think it was all of it. Not to the extent that you are, man. Like,
Yeah.
I don't...
Buddy, I was, like, last night, man, was horrible. I got the aches, right, and the pains. I was, like, waking up every, like, hour, you know, just in pain. I was, like, got hot and cold flashes. I was brutally sick, man. Like, it sucked. I was, like, hovering over the toilet last night. I was like, God, just take me now, man. I don't want to feel like this. Just take me now.
That's the worst, man.
Oh,
I don't
know,
get
man.
sick like that very often. Knock on fucking wood. Lord knows it's going to happen now. My daughter just got over a cold today, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
It's been brutal. Like, my daughter, she just came back from school. Well, I mean, the Christmas break, right? It's 3 weeks in now to school. First week, she was super sick. And then the second week, Monday, she went back to school. Tuesday, we went out to eat because it was her birthday. She got food poisoning.
Yeah, I remember that.
So she was sick all week. And then the Thursday came along, and then she had an ear infection. So we were at the hospital till like 3 in the morning till 6 in the morning, man. So she finally went back to school for the first time, really, after the Christmas break now. So there's something crazy going on. And then it was just a matter of like these other shitty things that just happened. I felt so bad for her.
Yeah, it sucks, man. Sucks when it's the kids too, especially. I fucking hate seeing my kids not as lively as they should be, bouncing off the walls as much as they drive me fucking insane. Like, that's the way I want to see them, right?
Yeah, brother. Well, we have a really good guest today.
We do.
He's a life coach. He's been through some shit that put him in the position that he's in. I don't want to say too much. I'd rather him just, explain everything. So I think better off, man, we'll just bring him in. What do you say?
Yeah, man. I'm excited because I didn't get to do the interview with you because I was sick that night. Remember? I had a wicked headache and I couldn't even fucking make it on my computer. So I've had very minimal conversation with this gentleman just before the show. And I feel like I trauma dumped on him a little bit before we started. Like, hey, man, you're a life coach. Here's my fucking problems. Take them, bro. So let's bring Grant in here, man.
All right.
Hey,
welcome, Grant. How's it going?
Good.
Good.
Man,
Well,
good.
I feel good now, man. I don't know. Your presence has just brought the goodness out of me, man. So thank you for that. And yeah, this is the first time you get to meet Anthony. I mean, we spoke before over emails and stuff, but
yeah.
Well, he's so easygoing. It's like I know him already.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's awesome. That's
It's a
what we
bit
try
like,
to do
yeah.
here, man. You know, at Raw Minds, we're very, relaxed. You know, we're real people. We don't fake what we do. I mean, like I said, man, I'm here sick. You know, we want it raw and normal, man, and just, good communication and just chill and talking shit, man. Really, at the
Yeah,
end of the
man.
day, I'm trying to change some lives at the same time while we're doing it, right?
It's all
That's
about.
100%.
Put that platform out there.
So I know me and you talked, right,
Yes.
on our interview there. You didn't really get a good chance with Anthony, but I filled him in a little bit, and he was actually really excited too, because counseling is a big part of his life, and your life coach, it's almost goes hand in hand, right? In a sense, it's almost, you guys are like sidekicks in a sense, you know what I mean? So he was very excited to have some good conversations with you. So
Yeah.
Get that.
And I'm definitely excited to hear your story, because I feel one thing that I've learned through my own experiences is that my experiences that I suffered from for a very long time have now become my most powerful tools.
Mhm.
And sort of like we were saying before, like helping get on the level that somebody else is on, because I've been at that level before. So some of the tools that I have learned, especially through recovery and dealing with fellow addicts, they've really helped me in getting on their level when they're suffering and they don't know what the next day looks like, the next fucking hour, So I'm really excited to hear your experiences, because I feel like you kind of take a very similar approach with life experience and using those as tools moving forward. So yeah,
Absolutely.
let's get right into it, man.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
before that, I would love you to shoot out all your socials and
Yes.
push all that out there, man, so we can drive some traffic to you and hopefully change some lives.
TikTok is a_life_well_live2. And I have Instagram, life_well_live self-mastery. And then I also have a newsletter, Thrive, which is on Beehive, which I'm assuming you'll send the link.
Yep.
And for anyone out there who's watching, I also have a free ebook, 7-Day Self-Mastery Challenge. So it's using the techniques that I used to pull myself through whatever I had to go with. And that, it's proven with clients, and it will work for anyone.
Awesome. And your website.
And website, yes, Leadership Academy Inc.
And that'll all be in the description, so check out the description. Hit up Grant, show some love, and change your life with this beautiful human being here, man.
Absolutely.
He'll help you.
Right on.
So shall I begin?
Yes, please.
Yes. So why don't you tell us kind of your story and what led you to becoming a life coach, and kind of what was your path to kind of start bringing you there?
Well, my path was a very long one, because I didn't start really fully appreciating myself and loving myself until I was almost 40 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So my bullying started at a very early age, in grade 4, thereabouts. I developed a speech impediment. So it wasn't a stutter, it was a stammer. So when I'd be talking, I would be stammering. And for those who don't know what a stammer is, it's kind of like it's borderline stuttering. So you're trying to collect your thoughts and you're just repeating the same word.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a stutter.
Okay.
So I had to see a speech therapist. So when I was in school at that time, the speech therapist came to the schools. And so I was literally called out of the classroom and to come to the room to work with this speech therapist. So that was where the ridicule started. Kids are all, assholes. And so they can be. So they just made life miserable for me. And that's where it all started. So it seemed like there was just like when a snowball rolls down a hill, it just got bigger and bigger. And no matter what I did or didn't do, I was called out upon, I was ridiculed, I was bullied. And then when I got to grade 6, 7, 8, that was absolute hell. Because, you carried the same students from that school and you went to a bigger one. And then it seemed like my reputation just preceded me. Mm-hmm. So grade 6 and 7s, and they were brothers of people in the high school that I would be going to. So where I was born, Hamilton, Ontario, it was a very rough steel town then. And where my house was located, I had to be transported to this very, very rough school.
Mm.
So I learned very quickly on how to develop survival. I went into survival mode basically. So I didn't go down certain hallways. As soon as that bell rang, I just took off. I took different paths every day, just because the bullying just continued.
Yeah.
What types of bullying were you experiencing? Was it like physical or just like verbal and mental and psychological?
Which
Yeah.
is far more powerful and more damaging than physical.
Absolutely, I
Definitely.
agree. Sometimes I would rather just take a punch in the face than hear some of the
Yeah.
shit that kids used to say.
Well,
Yeah.
that shit heals, right? You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
get a bruise, it'll go away. But for mental, man, like I was bullied too as a kid, and I still think about those things. I still get little triggers. I know how to deal with them now,
Mm-hmm.
right? As an adult and lots of counseling. But I mean, it still affects me to this day.
Absolutely.
I still remember everything that was said.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My absolute favorite quote is Maya Angelou's. People will forget what you said and did, but they will never forget how you made them feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
That's
really
true.
true. And that's what I had to really work through.
Mm-hmm.
Because that bullying left really deep emotional scars. And what I ended up happening was I built very, very thick walls.
Mm-hmm.
And I isolated myself from everyone.
Yeah. And so it paid a toll definitely on your social life and people like that, definitely. And I feel the same way, and that's why I stepped into video games a good portion of my teenage life, is because that's how I felt. And I felt that, I'm behind a screen, I was playing video games, so these people didn't know who I am or whatever, and they accepted me for who I was in the video game, and I could be whoever I wanted in the video game. I could be a villain, I could be a hero, I could be a whatever, you know what I mean? And that's where video games was my, I
Escapism.
guess, yeah, right.
Yeah.
So did you find that like you were going down like this like dark path going through all that? Like did you find that like you were having bad thoughts in your head as well? Like people didn't
Well,
like me and
just
stuff?
self-doubt. I
Yeah.
had very self-confidence,
Yeah.
very, very, but I would mask it. I would seem overconfident,
Mhm.
which is, I find with a lot of people with very, very confident, they're masking something.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So that's what I was doing. And luckily, when I got to high school, I had a massive growth spurt. So I'm 6 foot. So I was 6 feet in grade 9.
Oh wow.
So yeah. So
Yeah.
I kind of got saved from what was called minor niner treatment back
Oh,
then.
yeah.
Mm.
Flush the head down the toilet because
Mhm.
everyone thought I was a transfer student. So that kind of saved me. But it did persist because I was different in high school. It was in the 80s and I was into new wave and punk.
Mhm.
So I dressed that way. I listened to music, but that was my form of escapism in high school because
Mhm.
I found a very small collective group of people that were into the same music. So that in a very rough high school, we stood out. Again, survival mode. And I
Mhm.
wouldn't go to certain areas of the high school, like the shop area, for example, or the woodworking area, because I just stayed away from that. It was just better for me.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um,
You know,
but one thing I did notice about myself was that despite all that, in survival mode, I really did have confidence outside of the school.
oh, you
But
did? You said?
sorry,
Sorry, I missed that. You said you did have confidence
I
outside
did
the
have
school?
confidence outside the school. But
Okay.
when I came school time, and I would be diagnosed with probably
Mhm.
anxiety disorder now, because I would have the sickness, and it's just getting closer to that school, I'd feel nauseous and whatnot. But
That was like me, to relate to that. So I used to work for a company and I hated it there. I hated it. It wasn't good. And every morning when I would wake up, I would just go to the bathroom and I would start puking my guts out, like literally puking. And it was anxiety of, going to work because I didn't want to be there, but I had to pay the bills until I found something else. So I
Yeah.
can definitely relate about that feeling, that gut-wrenching feeling. It's not a good feeling at all.
It's the worst type of anxiety, man. Like that
Yeah.
nauseous feeling. I get it. Like I want to go in and talk to my doctor about my medication because I feel like I have more anxiety now than I did before I took my meds. And I don't we talked about this before, but like I'm very self-aware, so like I know what's going on in my life, and
Mhm.
there's nothing specific or particular that's going on in my life that feels anxiety inducing or that I can't work my way through. But sometimes it almost feels like that overwhelming in sense of impending doom as
Mhm.
and it's I can relate to that feeling too, because it's like I had this conversation with this person once, and they kind of said, like, the hardest person you have to learn to trust is yourself, because every bad situation that you've been put in, you were put there by you.
Mhm.
Like if you didn't want to go there, you're the one who put yourself there. So, like, that overwhelming, nauseous sense of impending doom when you know you're walking into a situation that you don't particularly want to be in, but you put yourself in it anyways. So yeah, the anxiety, man, it's a fucking terrible feeling. It's debilitating.
Yeah.
It literally is. It's caused me, before I got sober and tried quitting drinking and doing drugs on my own, I shut my company down, and I was contracted to build this one last house. I just had to finish building this house. I would get up in the morning, I would go outside, I would start my truck, I would come inside, I would get my work clothes on, and I would get ready to leave. And the minute I hit the door, I'm like, nope, can't do it. Can't leave the fucking house today. And I couldn't do it. I had to call them and tell them that I wasn't physically capable of showing up to spend 3 days to finish building this house. I couldn't get out of my house. That's how bad my anxiety was at that time.
Because you put it in your subconscious mind. Like you associate that place with
Yeah,
the feeling.
absolutely. And I
And this,
didn't have my safety net of the things that I was used to, like my drugs and my alcohol. I was trying to live life just raw dogging it without the things that had kept me safe for the last decade and a half. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
it was just a very scary time in my life.
yeah.
Mhm.
And it was an awful time for me as well. But I did find, like I said, survival methods. I found this group of people. And then one thing that really, I think about it and I shudder now what I would do. But there was this one transfer student, he was known as Ed the Skinhead. So he was a white supremacist skinhead. And I just want to say I don't agree with their philosophies or
Yeah.
beliefs, whatever. But I did find that even walking within the vicinity of it saved me because they associated me with him and they didn't
Mhm.
want to deal with him. So that kind of, I found ways to protect myself.
Yeah, you're like in his shadow kind of thing to help. Yeah, because nobody wants to go around him, and if you're in that vicinity, then no one would
Yeah.
kind of come after you. Is what you're trying to say? Okay, makes
So,
sense.
but
Yeah,
like I
and
said,
that's the thing is you were like when you're in a fight or flight mode like that, you're always looking for different ways to, protect yourself.
yeah,
You know, and you're all like, to be honest with you, my whole life has been fight or flight. And I'm still learning how to get out of that mode. Like I've been talking to my counselor before about that, and that's what it is. And why I'm so tired all the time is because my body is always just fight or flight, because that's what I've known since
mhm.
since
That's a
5 years old. Sorry, say that again.
that's a part-time job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. And it tires the shit out of you. It really does. Like I feel, why am I so tired? My iron's still high, but it's because I got so much stuff going around in my head, and I'm fighting, and I'm like, I'm fighting a battle that's what is it called? Your subconscious. My subconscious is always fighting a battle, and it's just that's what it just pulls all the energy out of me because well, just imagine you're fighting every single day for 24/7,
Mm.
You get
Your
tired.
subconscious mind never stops.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
your conscious
definitely.
you can turn it off when you go to sleep, but your subconscious mind is constantly working.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. Well, that at the end of the day, that's what controls everything, really, right?
Yeah, social behaviors, your feelings. So all these things they add up.
Yeah. So after like your whole bullying trauma experience going through your childhood, when did like that thing switch in you to like start like, fixing yourself and wanting to take
Not for
control?
many years later. So after graduating, I went on to university, and I think, I don't want to say that I never had success in my life. I had periods of high success, and it all boils down to confidence. I was able to have incredible confidence in certain aspects and areas of my life, or periods of my life, is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
So after university, I just left and went to Japan. I taught in Japan. And then I found a job where I moved up quickly in the ranks, became a corporate trainer, wanted more responsibilities, a different area. And, when they say be careful what you wish for, is very true, because I was warned that my boss, who, if I was to transfer, was very difficult to work with. So I passed it off, and I can handle it. Look at the success. This is what I was thinking. Look at the success that I've had in the company. I'll be fine. So that was like the crashing point for me.
Mm-hmm.
I used the sweater analogy. So when you have a snag in a sweater and it just gets attached to a hook or something, and everything starts to unravel.
Mm.
So the years that I had confidence, that was my absolute downfall. That person literally destroyed every last shred of self-confidence. When I talk to people, probably your audience is thinking, well, it was a woman, I'm a man. How can that happen? It doesn't matter who that person is. If they find that snag, that one thread,
Mm-hmm.
everything can unravel. And that's what happened to me. And so I was just, upset at myself, upset at her. And then I really had to pull myself up from ground zero. Like it literally destroyed me. And that was the turning point, because I was angry and bitter.
So sorry to cut you off, but just a question. When you say like your confidence before this type of interaction, like what would you correlate your confidence that you had and your successes over the years? Was it validation from doing good at your job, and this person had kind of robbed you of that form of validation that you had been so comfortable getting?
In part, I was never one to put my value on a job or position. So it was more like, okay, I've worked through those things, that I put that past behind me. One thing I really learned to do is forgive people. So
Mm-hmm.
when I tell clients you need to forgive people, it's not that you're acknowledging, it's the fact that you're acknowledging that it happened. You
Yeah.
don't accept it, but it was out of your control.
Yeah.
So when you forgive someone that's done something to you, you accept that and acknowledge that it happened, and then it's important that you do that to move on.
You're
So
forgiving them for yourself. That's it.
Yeah.
Not them. Yeah.
not that. And
Yeah.
also
And that's what you
forgive.
have to do.
Mhm.
And so with this experience with my former boss, I had to forgive myself, because, I allowed her to do that. I allowed her to strip away my confidence, and I had to forgive myself first,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Was that a hard process for you?
Well, it was, because, I was at rock bottom at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a lot for me to admit to that.
Yeah.
And it was a huge, huge learning experience. Huge.
Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer, everything happens for a reason. And I had to, I think that was my turning point, like I said, because I was very angry and bitter all the time. And so I knew I had to change.
Mm-hmm.
So how that happened was I started thinking about therapy. And I know we talked about therapy earlier. And I want to phrase this by saying, or preface this by saying, if you're in therapy, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. What I am saying, it wasn't for me. So when I contacted a therapist to inquire about and know about therapy, what it's all about, she said that we do an assessment, we determine what she said was what's wrong with you, and then we'll prescribe the appropriate medication.
Mm-hmm.
Without even seeing me. This was over the phone.
Oh,
So I knew that
crazy.
wasn't. I knew there
Yeah.
was nothing wrong with me, and I certainly didn't want to be medicated. So I knew therapy wasn't for me.
Yeah.
So I
fair.
had to, sorry.
That's fair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was nothing wrong with me, but I didn't want to be medicated, and I didn't feel that it was appropriate for me.
See,
So
I find that.
that
Sorry to
I
cut you off there.
no problem.
No, I was just saying, I find that like a lot of times people just go straight to the medication, like a therapist too, a lot. Just, instead of getting right down to the root of the problem or how to fix it, it's just like, this is going to fix it. And it's like a band-aid, really, at the end of the day. You're just slapping a sheet of paper over top of the problem like it doesn't exist, hoping it just goes away. But
Yeah.
as soon as you take that paper away, the problem's still there, right? It's a matter of trying to like deal with the underlying issues, instead of just throwing medication on top of it and hoping it just disappears.
Exactly. It's
So
a culture that is just medicated oriented.
I
Mhm.
can give you guys my experience with medication because I am medicated and I've been diagnosed I don't know how many fucking times. Because part of me is just like, no, we're definitely not depressed. We should probably see if we can get diagnosed again. I got diagnosed when I was like fucking 14, when I was 16, because I tried to commit suicide. I got diagnosed multiple times before I went to treatment in 2021. Then when I got out of treatment, my sponsor's like, hey, have you ever like not been on drugs and alcohol and tried to get diagnosed? I'm like, that's a really good idea. So I stopped taking medication, got put back on, and then the stuff I was taking wasn't really doing anything for me. I don't go to my therapist for medication. I go to my doctor and I talk to my
Mhm.
doctor, and my doctor referred me to a psychologist. I spoke with the psychologist, and that's how I got what I'm on. But what I've learned about medication, and this was my misunderstanding beforehand, and I feel like it's kind of like a general misunderstanding. I'm sure you guys don't misunderstand it this way, but this was my general misunderstanding before. I'm going to take the medication and then I'm going to feel better. I can continue living and doing the things that I was doing, but I'm just going to feel better like living and doing them. That's not the case at all. All the medication does is gives me that extra little bit to be able to do the things that normal people do and not feel the way that I feel doing them. You know what I mean? So like my depression, I've talked about it on the show before. My depression shows itself. I can sleep. I could sleep a whole fucking day. I could lay in my bed for a whole day. My medication allows me to have the energy to get out of fucking bed in the morning and do the bare minimum, even on my depressed days, do the bare minimum to make it through the day. Whereas if I'm not medicated, I will comfortably lay in my bed. I don't care if my kids are here. They'll fend for themselves on the couch while I sit in my bed and be sad all day. So for me, the medication was just that little bit of extra gas in the tank for me to function like a normal human being. Like I go to work comfortably every day now. Whereas before I would have no problem calling in on a Tuesday because I woke up and just didn't fucking feel like going. So there's a big misunderstanding that medication is going to fix you, but that's not, from my own experience, that's not what it is. Medication will help you have the ability to fix yourself. And that's what it's done for me 100%. I know I said 20 minutes ago that I'm dealing with a lot of anxiety, but for the most part, I'm able to get up and go throughout my day, even on my tough days, because I took the time to talk to the right people to get prescribed the right medication. Right. So that was my experience with medication. But like I said, I go to my doctor for medication. I don't go to my therapist for medication. She understands me on an emotional level. This guy understands me on a chemical level. Right. There's two different things there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you did make one very good point, and that's the point that you put in the work, so to speak, to actually get out.
Yeah.
With coaching, it's the same thing. I can give the client all the tools, but it is up to them to really, first of all, are they willing to do it? Are they able to do it? And will they do it?
Yep.
That's the big gap that a lot of people don't see. And you can watch all the YouTube videos you want, but the reality is when you're dealing with some mental health issues, you really need someone to talk to and open up instead of just a simple motivation video.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
Well,
I
it's
can
like,
watch them till the fucking cows come home, but that doesn't get me out of bed doing anything.
yeah.
I agree
Well, you'll
100%.
probably be in bed doing that, right? You know
That's
what
when I
I mean?
do it,
Like
man, right before
doom
bed.
scroll.
Well,
Doom scroll.
watching some of the videos, you're comparing yourself to them. I'm like, well, I'm a huge loser, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't
Mhm.
have
And
anything like this guy.
try to
So,
get
Yeah.
fired up at fucking 11 o'clock in bed, laying in bed when I got to work in the morning. Like I'm going to wake up and go to the gym at 5 when it's like 5 hours away. Like that's not happening.
yeah, exactly.
I'm guilty of that for sure. I've done that before. I'm not going to lie. Like, this will make me feel better. Just pump me up.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So after
Anyways.
that, with therapy, I knew I needed to do something. And then I just happened to come across, the coaching industry. And so I inquired about that, and I met this one coach who became my coach. And it was an interesting thing because he said, right away, you have blockage. So, when you're in a situation or someone says something to you in your mind, says something completely, thinks something completely random. So when he said you have blockage, I thought he was honestly talking. I was thinking, does he think I'm constipated?
Yeah. Bowel block.
But that's not what my mind was thinking. But
Yeah.
did point out was, you have a blockage that you need to break through.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what, so that's why I hired him. And it was such a profound experience for me because it spoke to me, and it worked for me, but I had to do the work. And, it wasn't 1, 2, 3. I would start off as 1, move to 2, and then slip back to 1, if that makes sense. Like I would move 2 steps forward, slide 10 back.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a long process for me to really open up, but another great learning experience. And it helped me so much that I became a certified life coach.
That's why you did it, is because it just blew your mind pretty much.
Yeah, I saw the effect that it had on me, and now that I see the effect on my clients as well.
That's crazy,
Man,
man.
that's the same thing as recovery, dude. Like, see one sober guy, ask him to be my sponsor. I get sober. That's all fine and dandy. I love it. Don't get me wrong. Like, it literally saved my fucking life. It saved my relationship with my kids, saved my job, the roof over my head. Didn't save the relationship with their mother, but the co-parenting relationship we have now is fucking 10 times better than it ever was. That's what recovery gave me. But the best part about recovery is watching other people recover the exact same way that I did and watching it work for other people. So I can 100% relate to that, man.
That, and you're still here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Those are the two major ones, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Thank God you are. I don't know who else I'd be doing this fucking podcast with.
Fuck. I don't know, buddy. I thought I was going to have to do it alone tonight after you called me 3 times. Like, I'll call you back. I'm going to throw up.
I was literally throwing up while I was talking to him on the phone.
Yeah.
But show must go on, man. I'm here. You know what I mean? I feel good after that last one, so I'm okay for the time.
Thank God. So,
anyways,
Grant, do you want to get into a little bit of like what exactly, or do you want to get into like how you navigated your way through the life coaching, like what that experience looked like, and then like what you do now?
So when I first became a certified life coach, I partnered up with my actual coach. So he's the founder of Leadership Academy, Inc., Fikar Sukru. So he was my coach. So now we're also business partners. So what we do a number of things. And we start off with, I started off doing leadership because it was something that I was compelled to do because I had the leadership experience and I could navigate the up and down of hiring and whatnot. And so we would go into companies and do assessments and turn them around and that sort of thing. But one thing I noticed when coaching leaders was, when I talked about, if they came to me and they were struggling with their business or their leadership style, the questions that I would ask, were, for example, so what do you think is lacking in your success? And they would go, well, my KPIs are this, and my team is not doing this. It's like, what else? What else? What else? So the deep dive questions, it boiled down to a lot of these leaders, they had trauma from before that has impacted their success from now.
So it always started off with them pointing the fingers, but when you worked all the way down, it was them.
Yeah. So the fingers started out there and around, and then it pointed back to them. Right. Yeah. And that's a great thing because, you can move mountains when you realize you get to the root cause of things. So that was like the light bulb for me because I'm a huge research nerd. Like I love looking at dissertations and theses and stuff like that. Scientific reports. Yeah, I know it's boring stuff, but you learn.
I'm all about that shit, man. I like that. I do that too. I'm always researching other things.
Dude, this is why we have guests on too, man. That's like, this is why I love this. You guys read it so I don't have to. You'll just tell me about it.
We'll give you the Coles notes version.
Yeah, perfect.
So when I looked into this phenomenon of what the trauma in men, I realized that there's a lot of men that suffer from mental health. So you guys know, I'm sure you look at the stats and it's alarming.
Yeah,
We've
big
got them
time.
on our website.
Yeah, it's just horrendous what, as guys put up with. And we can't talk about it because of societal norms and expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to change. It's changing, but slowly.
Yeah.
And so that's become my passion. So share my experiences, help other guys, walk away from the edge, so to speak, literally and figuratively. And that's what really drives me.
Yeah, can I just say, man, I can see it just in your eyes,
I can feel it, dude.
yeah, like your expression that you love what you do. You know, just like us, like we love what we do, and like it's the passion, helping others. For me, I don't know if you know, but this is like how Raw Minds got started. Is my fiance passed away 2 years ago on Father's Day, and I just didn't have really a great support group. Not that I didn't, but I just didn't know how to have one. I didn't reach out really. Like I had Joey, our past co-host, all the time. He would come in, he would support me. Great, right? And this is how this podcast started. But I
Amazing.
didn't have like a core group, and that's what we wanted to bring. Like that's how this podcast came. Is we wanted to bring that and show other men that you're not alone. You go through things just like this man over here or this man over here. We all have it in common. Just because your struggle is different from him doesn't mean it's any better or any worse. It's at the end of the day, it's a struggle, and we need to come together. Sorry, and show this and show that we're not alone, and that there's a big problem here that we need to start. Yeah, huge isn't even the word for it, man. You know what I mean? It's not, and this is what we need. Like we're trying to build this village to show the world that it needs to change. Definitely.
And I think it's important that we have these outlets that people can talk and say, okay, I can talk about it. It's okay to tell people about my problems. But a lot of people, they don't have that support system.
Yeah.
Really unfortunate.
Yeah.
And,
well,
go ahead.
To be honest with you, like I had my counselor, but at the time, I just didn't feel it. It just wasn't the right counselor. You got to find the right person sometimes. It's the same with life coach too, right? What your platform or your what would you call it? Your program? I guess it would be a program. Yeah, your program might not fit into this other person's, but another life coach program, it might work, right? So it's all different, whatever, because we're all different at the end of the day, but we have the same goal, and that's to be better and to help each other and to strive and be healthy.
Absolutely.
Right? But I didn't have it with that counselor at the time either, right? So it was just, I felt alone, even though like Joey was there every day for me. He used to come over after work and he would just sit there. I still felt alone, and I felt like I was the only person going through it, in that moment, and as humans, as we do, like I'm the only person. I am it. Pardon me?
Every man has that same thought.
Yeah.
It's only me that's going through this.
Yeah. But that's why we made this platform, Raw Minds, is to show, and we're up to like almost 70, I think it's almost 70 episodes now.
I don't even know what number this one is. Is this 22 or 23?
This is 23.
23.
Yeah.
Nice.
23. So, yeah, I mean, it just goes to show that about 80% of our episodes are guests of men coming on and sharing their stories, right? And some wild ones, and where they came from to where they are to now, and it's magical. And this is the platform that we want to show this, and hopefully more people come and see this and say like, yeah, like I am not alone.
You want to know something that I do want to point out though about that, like how you were saying like everybody's story is different, and it kind of goes back to your favorite quote there, like about how people made you feel. If you continue listening, like for our listeners, like if you continue listening to these stories, you're going to see a common denominator in every fucking story. And it's the way that we've all felt in our experiences. I felt hopeless, like I'm the only one going through this. The one that I still deal with is I'll fucking figure it out. Like I don't need the help. I'll figure it out. That's a common one that I get all like in my own head all the time. You know, like our stories may be different. It's not the people, places in the thing and the things in the stories. It's about how we felt in those times.
Mm-hmm.
And I would confidently say 100% of our guests, and the reason that they're on here is because at some point in their life, they didn't feel like they could do it alone. And then when they realized, or they didn't feel like they could do it alone. And then when they realized that they didn't have to do it alone, they're like, well, holy fuck, now I got to tell the world.
Yeah.
And then they come on here, right? And that's the beautiful thing about it. We've all, I confidently, I can say for myself, and I don't want to speak for you guys, but I'm pretty sure you could say it too, is like a lot of the times, like a lot of the hardships in our lives, we went through it alone. We went through it quietly until we couldn't go through it alone and quiet anymore. And then we finally asked for help. And for me, the moment I asked for help, that's when the fucking floodgates opened. And it was just like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
all these resources, all this help from people who I didn't think gave a shit about me or how I felt. You know, like inside, it's like none of these people actually care. This is all bullshit. It's all fake. They're all just saying this stuff. And then when it's like, holy shit, I need help, it's like, no, we actually care. Like, what do you need? Do you want to go to treatment for your drug addiction? I don't know. I've never been to treatment. I went. It was the best thing I ever did because someone offered to pay for me to go. It was a $40,000 fucking insane asylum, 30 days of my life. But that 30 days saved my life because someone actually gave a shit about me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But if I didn't speak up, nobody would know that.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. I think a big thing is, you know, when you find something new, you want to share it with the world. You know what I mean? Like a new recipe or something like that. And this is what we're trying to do. And this is what needs to be the new norm, you know, is like, you know, like share your experiences, you know, reach out, you know, and get that help. And that should be the new norm. We do it with everything else. Like, oh, this new website, you got to check it out. Well, now it should be like, you know, this counselor or life coach or something, you know what I mean, to push to help you feel better at the end of the day, because this is your life. It's a temple. You know, you got to be healthy. And if you're not taking care of yourself, well, then it's not going to look good for you. And we need to be able to do that.
And you only have life, right?
Exactly. It's not a video game.
So let me ask you guys a question. Do you love yourself?
I would have to say 90% of the days I do. You know, that's a raw, honest answer. 90% of the days I do. The 10% is sometimes I dwell on the past, which then, like, after losing my fiance, I feel like a part of me died with her, if that makes sense, you know? You know, like what I had. So do I love myself? Yes, I love myself. But let me change that. Yes, I love myself, but where I'm in life right now, I don't love myself. Sorry. If that's a
Okay. So do you think you deserve that but? I love myself.
No. I don't deserve the but. There should be no but. I hate that word but. I don't even know why I said it. I hate the word but.
You just got called out on, buddy.
I did, man. You know, I did, definitely. The but's a big problem, definitely. But again, there it is. I think it's living in the past, right? Is I have to enjoy the future and the present, more or less the past. The past is dead. It's gone, you know. I have to mourn that, I guess you could say, and push on from that.
For me, there's a lot that I do love about myself. There's also things that I know I still need to work through. I'm really good at getting stuck up in here. And like when you said blockage, man, when I get in my head, I was sitting with a friend last night and she just kind of asked me what was going on. And I was telling her, and she like looked over at me at one point. She's like, whoa, like you're like really in your fucking head, eh? And I'm like, this is where I go. You know, I can get way in there and I can get stuck. So I do love myself because I know where I've come from, especially over the last almost 4 years now. There's a lot to me that I've learned to love and a lot of imperfections that I've learned to love. But there's also a safety net inside that I'm trying to, a blockage, call it a fucking blockage that I need to get through to be able to open up these other parts of me that deserve the love as much as every other part of me.
I love it that you said that you love your imperfections. I think that's
Yeah, man.
Those are some of my best traits, man. Let's be real. They are.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I want to change my answer now.
You only get one try, buddy. Sorry.
I'm just joking.
No.
there.
No, but I do feel that like I live in the past too much, definitely, because what I had before, it was like a fairy tale. And then right now it's not, I guess you could say. But at the same time, you know, like the struggles make you who you are today.
Yeah.
You know? And that's, I should know this because my whole life has been a fucking struggle at the end of the day. I've been fight or flight, right? So, and I have to say too, is like, that's why I'm here. This is why Raw Minds is here, you know? This is why it's here, is because of those struggles that we had to go through, what I had to go through. This wouldn't be here, you know, if I didn't have those struggles. Anthony wouldn't be here if he didn't have his struggles. You know, you wouldn't be here if you didn't have your struggles. Right?
Well,
So
it's really unfortunate that we have to have struggles.
Yeah.
Such as the things that, you know, that I hear from clients and you hear from guest speakers. We don't have to go through this. Like, it shouldn't be like this.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, life is full of stuff like this.
But I
You
do
know
have
what
to
I
say,
will?
well, I do have to say though that if you look back, a lot of people that have had the biggest struggles or the biggest failures have became some of the biggest people around, you know? And that's, without those struggles though, you don't have that drive. You don't have the failures and the struggles or whatever it may be, you know? That's what drives you to the point of either fixing yourself or opening up a company. Like your struggles brought you to being a life coach, you know? You know, and my struggles brought me to having Raw Minds, and Anthony's struggles to be coming onto Raw Minds and being a host. You know, so at the end of the day, yeah, struggles suck, but we kind of need them in some sense, you know, to give us that push to push us where we are today, you know, to say, no, I'm not going to be like that anymore. I felt like that, and I don't want to feel like that anymore. Or that I'm not going to let that that failure determine who I am, you know, and to keep on I'm going to be better. This next company I'm going to make, it's going to be a 500 fortune or whatever it is, right? You know what I mean? You need that because that's what drives you to. I mean, some of them really suck, don't get me wrong, from death and all this other stuff, you know, those struggles do suck. But I mean, we do need them. We do need them in a sense.
And it's an awakening experience too, because you don't realize what you're really capable of until you're put through the ringer, right?
Definitely.
And for me, I would say, like, yeah, you don't have to live through the struggles, but I'll tell you right now, man, if anyone in my life would have had to experience what I experienced in terms of struggling to get to where I am, I would much rather it be me. You know, I'm fucking grateful that I was the one who got to experience those struggles. Because take my kids, for example. I've said this before on an episode. I've been through addiction. I had to walk into a 12-step meeting by myself, never understanding, no previous experience, not from my parents, no family members are in a 12-step program. I did that alone. But my kids come with me every Friday night to my meeting that I go to, and they come into that room and they know that room's safe. So if my kids ever end up going down that path, they already know where the exit is whenever they're ready to exit, right? They don't have to experiment and go as far down as I did because they get to see me do it because I'm the one who experienced those struggles so that they don't have to. I am so grateful that, for one, I made it out alive because it was very dark for a very long time. And there was a lot of times I didn't want to wake up. It was every day, but I got to experience those things. So now that my kids don't have to, you know what I mean? So if someone's got to experience struggles, I'm glad I got to experience the ones that I did so that they don't have to. I don't get a say in whether or not they do. That's up to them. That's their decision to make. You know that all too well. But at least I've shown them an alternative to that type of struggle, right? And that's what my experience has shown for them, right?
Yeah.
So that's my take on struggles. And just like to me, it's all perspective. One thing I've learned is it's all perspective, right? Like I can sit here and look at these things and be like, these are all the big bad things that happened to me. And I can sit here and surface level take accountability and be like, yep, I did this, I did that. I was not a good person. Cool. And then just carry on with life and act like it was no big deal. No, it was a big deal. I went through it. There's a purpose behind it. You know what I mean? Like, take the fucking strength that I had and share it with other people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that's what's important. It all boils down to this, like fucking helping someone else. You know,
Yeah,
I lived through it,
Paying
so
it
you don't
forward.
have to. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have
Definitely.
to take responsibility for your own life. You know,
Yes.
like at Leadership Academy, we don't just take everyone. We go through an interview process with the clients to make sure that they're a good fit with us. So it's like a dual interview. We want to make them
Mm-hmm.
feel comfortable with us, but we also have to be comfortable with them. And by that, I mean, we see if they're coachable, first of all, if
Mm-hmm.
they're willing to do the work. Because, you know, like I mentioned earlier, you can watch all the motivational videos you want, but you really do have to do the work
Mm-hmm.
in order to
Yeah.
move on. Just as what you did, Anthony, for example. You had to really put in the work.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing with any struggle that you go through. You have to be willing to change what your current situation is, realize that you can do it, but you also have to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's about
So
showing up.
those tools.
Yeah.
It's about showing up for yourself. Like
That's
that.
what I mean by showing up.
Yeah. Like, fuck. If there's the slightest amount of people pleasing that makes you just like, say you start working with Grant and there's a little part of people pleasing and you just want to make Grant happy and you want to show up to make Grant happy, do it
There-
because sooner or later, hopefully down the line, you'll realize that you're showing up for yourself. I learned that showing up for other people is showing up for myself.
Mhm.
That's what I've learned because it fills my cup. And we've talked about this on here too, right? Like this fills my cup.
Mm-hmm.
I'm showing up as a host of this podcast, but I'm also showing up because I'm the one who gets to have the in-depth conversation with you. I get to ask questions selfishly for myself. You know what I mean? So I'm showing up for others, but it's also showing up for myself. Right? So
But you're also being the catalyst for this movement.
what's that? Sorry?
Catalysts are being catalysts for the movement to break the stigma,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
to seek help, get the help they need, talk, most
Mhm.
importantly, talk.
Well, that's what it needs to happen. Is you need to talk. You need to express it. You need an outlet. You need to have that to release.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because if you just boil it up inside, man, it's not going to end good. I'm a product of that. I used to do that all the time.
So
Just shove everything down, you know. And then where did that got me? Almost in jail, you know, just hanging out with the wrong people and doing stupid things. It's not worth it. You need to express your feelings. Know that you're not alone. Know that you know you need help. Everybody at the end of the day is suffering. There is not one person on this planet that is perfect. I don't care how great their Instagram looks. They are not perfect. You know?
in front of a private jet or
Yeah.
whatever.
You know what I mean? It's true, man.
So Grant, are you able to walk us through in like a general way what is it a 7-week program you said?
It's a 7-week, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are you able to just kind of give us a general rundown of like what that 7-week program looks like and like how you break it down for your clients?
Yeah, so there's 4 stages to it. So I call it the V4 roadmap. So the first phase is the vulnerability stage. So that's really important that you become vulnerable, open up, realize what's going on in your life, what needs to be changing. And well as the component is self-compassion. So by self-compassion, it's showing empathy and realizing that things were out of your control.
That's a hard one.
Yeah, definitely.
That's fucking hard. Yeah.
That was the phase that I struggled with. The second one is values, setting the values for yourself. What are the values you want to be as a better human being, and also the values of people around you. So one of my favorite things is boundaries. So if the client's in a certain situation where they have to set boundaries with the people around them to move forward, then that's what they need to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
that's a hard one too, especially if you've never had boundaries with people. I found this in my experience. If you've never had a boundary with someone and you set a boundary with them, they take it personally because they've never had that boundary. When that boundary has nothing to do with them, that boundary has to do with you.
Exactly.
And I've had to navigate that before. That's a fun one.
Yeah. And then there's the victory stage. So celebrate the small wins, the big wins, and the vision. Setting the vision for your life. What do you want to do in your life? How you vision your life to be, and then we work towards that. So that's the V4 roadmap.
I love
Amazing.
it. So it's only a 7-week program, or does it kind of go on after that, or how does that
keep going for that. Like I have different programs. My top tier coaching is could be 8-9 months.
Okay.
I am also rolling out shortly the 7-week course program, as well as I want to start something I've called the 8-minute group. So what it is, it's just a group of guys. They can talk about anything that's going on in their mind for 8 minutes.
Cool.
So the reason why I set it for 8 minutes is because it's less pressure for them to talk. So it can be about anything, what they're dealing with, how their life is going. 8 minutes, that's all, just to get the conversation going.
I love it, man.
See,
Yeah.
for me, if I had 8 minutes, man, I would just fucking word vomit all the shit that goes on in my brain. You give me 8 minutes, yeah, I'm just flying off the handle for 8 minutes. It doesn't even have to make sense. If it's in here, it's coming out.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a safe, no judgment zone that I want to create, so guys can start the conversation. That's what it's all about. Build up.
And is this all online?
I do mostly online, but if you're in my area, I'm more than happy to meet up as well.
Okay. Cool. And then all that information definitely will be on your website, so people can reach you at that.
Links to my free ebook is all on my socials, as well as for anyone who's listening, I'm willing to offer a 30-minute free coaching call, so they can just look on for that link to go to my calendar. No pressure. You can have a 30-minute session with me for free.
Awesome. I'm actually gonna. I was talking to Anthony actually before you came on the call here, like on the program. I guess I missed that you had an ebook. So I was like, oh shit, he's got an ebook. That was actually just before you came on. So after this is done, I'm definitely going to check that out. Yeah. So I appreciate that. And if you guys are listening, check that shit out, man. Show some love and see what Grant's all about, man. This guy's making changes.
Take the first step. It's simple. Delegation. It's an ebook. Just do the activities and exercises to get the ball rolling.
Hell yeah.
See where you're at.
Yeah.
I found that life is never as pretty as I think it is in my head. When I sit down and look at it, it's like I've got work to do. There's always work to do, though, man. That's what I find. There's always work to do.
Yeah, true. But can I put a spin on that? There's
Absolutely.
A lot of life.
There's a lot of what story? Beauty? Yeah.
Yeah, in life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
That's where the saying comes: "Stop and smell the roses." Right? You have to. But I think I've said that multiple times on here. Is like, take a step back sometimes. If you're having a hard time, if shit's happening to you, you're going through a rough patch, take a step back for a second and look at all the beautiful things around you. Like a lot of times people, they're going through hard stuff and they're like, oh, how am I going to do this? How am I going to pay my bills? Okay, I understand those things. Yeah. But take a step back and be like, okay, well, thank you that I have a roof over my head. Thank you that I woke up today. Thank you that I have my children in my life. Thank you that there's food in my fridge or whatever it may be. Be thankful for the things that you do have right now in this moment.
We have a saying.
Gratitudes that really can change your thinking.
Yeah, definitely. We have a saying in recovery, and it's people miss the beauty of the forest because they're diverted by the ugliness of some of its trees. You miss the beauty of the big picture because you're focused on all the little ugly things going on.
I like that.
You know what other story I want to tell? Because I don't think I've told it on here since I became a host. Have I told the starfish story? Have you heard the starfish story, Grant?
You've said it so many times.
No, I say it in the interviews. That's where I say it. I don't think I've said it on
Oh,
here.
you said it the one time, yes.
Should tell today.
Okay, so this story is about making a difference. So there's this guy and he's walking down the beach and he sees this little boy and he walks up to the little boy and he says, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm throwing the starfish back in the water trying to make a difference." And the gentleman looks down the coastline both ways and there's miles of coastline, hundreds of thousands of starfish. Just turn and he looks at the little boy and he just laughs. He's like, "Look at all the coastline and look at all the starfish. Like, you're not going to make a difference." Little boy looks at him, looks at the ground, picks one up, throws it back in the ocean, says, "Made a difference to that one."
Mm.
And that's how it starts, man. That's my favorite analogy, favorite story.
When we first met Anthony, he said that. That's what he's like. What do you say? This is what raw minds are. This is what you guys are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because you guys, well, it's not really, like you
Not
guys.
you guys anymore. It's you too now.
I know, but like there was a bigger picture that you guys weren't even aware of at that time, right? Like I made you guys realize like there's going to be things that are said on this show that we're never going to get acknowledged for in people's lives, right? And that's the way I look at it. And that's why I think for me it's so important to be so vulnerable, especially with stuff going on in my life, is because I don't know what I'm going to say that's going to hit someone and be like, I can relate to that, you know? So, and I may never hear about it. So as long as I stay real, as long as I stay raw and stay true to who I am, I have nothing to lose, but somebody else has something to gain.
Mm.
Right? So that's why I am the way that I am. And it's not just on here. Fuck, like I work in people's houses every day. I work construction. I do window and door installations. I'm in people's houses every day. I would probably say 70% of the people's houses I go to, by the end of the day, they know I'm a recovering drug addict. That's how open I am. I really don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got tattoos on my face. I've got a fucking piercing on my eye. I've got tattoos on my throat. People love judging a book by its cover. And I thrive off of it. I see it first thing in the morning when they open their door and it's like, "Hey, you're here to let me in your house to rip a window out of your house." And I live in a retirement town. It's a very small town. So most of the time it's people in their 70s and 80s and they have that instant look of fear. By the end of the day, even the woman today, I was going to leave. She's like, "It's really windy out. Do you guys want to take some cookies for your long drive home?" I'm like, "No, we're good." Happens all the time, man. But like Joey used to say too, right? I'll just quote Joey because we haven't quoted him in a while. If you can't find good people, be good people.
Love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I'm dropping all the power quotes tonight so nobody has to go to bed and watch motivational YouTube videos before they fall asleep.
I'm just going to watch this video again before I go to bed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Anthony.
Also, because I forgot at the beginning, we have a website. And sooner or later, it's going to click in my head to bring it into our little spiel. If you guys are looking for any types of resources or just episodes or about us, we do have a website, rawminds.ca. Erick's done a wonderful job at building it. He says he's not happy with it. I think it's splendid. I think it's splendid. We have resources for Canada and the US and everywhere. So if you are struggling, check us out there. All our episodes are on there. There's about me, still working on some stuff in the background. There are kind of some hints, but we're not going to say where they are. They're kind of probably in your face right now, but we'll get there when we get there.
They are in your face right now, but we won't say anything yet.
We're not saying much. How are we for time, Eric?
No, we got some, keep on going here. If
Can we
you're
keep
still
going?
good, Grant, we're,
Sure.
yeah. I do want to say, I want to integrate something with the website, something for guests that come on and like a socials area for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to start doing that. So I don't know if it's okay with you, Grant, if we could even put your website up on ours just to drive some traffic there as well.
Yeah.
We'd like to do that. I want to make a section for, all our guests and their stuff and what they do for the community and their people around them in their community. So I was thinking about, I think we talked about a little bit at Anthony before putting something up for our guests, like shooting them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if it's okay with you, I'd love to do that. So when I get to it, I'm sick right now and I got a lot on my plate, but when I get to it and I update the website, Grant's stuff will be up there as well, so you can
Thank you.
you can check it out on there too.
So let me ask you a question, Grant. You said sorry, I can't remember the name of the 4V thing. How did you say it?
Yeah, the
V4.
4Vs.
The V4. Okay. you said you struggled with self-compassion the most. What were your, like, where did you notice your lack of self-compassion? Like, how did it show itself?
That I had to take responsibility for what I did. Okay. So, during building up that thick walls, I was engaging in a lot of reckless behavior. I had to acknowledge that I had a lot of shame and guilt to go through,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to really work through that. That was probably the hardest thing because, I didn't want to voice it. With my experiences, that was a lot of shame around that. And I find that's the killer. It's like the real blockage, at least for me, showing that self-compassion. I didn't have the right tools at that time to know better. That's what it all boils down to. But now that I do, it probably wouldn't have happened. So I had to forgive myself for whatever happened in the past, that I had to work through that. So that was a big struggle for me. And it's a big struggle for a lot of men.
Mm-hmm.
It's always about this, I have to be strong for everyone. Well, it's just not possible, first of all.
Mm.
It's a huge responsibility, secondly. And it has damaging effects, as we all know.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you say would be the simplest and quickest and easiest way for someone to show themselves like a little bit of self-compassion?
Write down what you like about yourself. So when I do with my clients, I say, write down a list of what you don't like, and then write down a list of what you do like. Which do you think is the hardest?
Oh, the one that you like, for
Like,
sure,
definitely.
dude.
I'm thinking of it in my head right now. Like, how much? Yeah, definitely.
I get all the clients to write on paper. So when they show me the paper, it's 10 pages of paper.
One side, yeah.
And maybe a couple lines of what they like.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where you start. Okay, so burn the things you don't like about yourself. Rip those papers up. Now focus on the likes. Dig deep. There has to be something that you like more than, you like the simple, superficial things. Dive deeper.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the exercises that we do.
So kind of like an answer would be compassionate or empathy. Empathy. Would that be something?
Why don't we just ask this question now, boys? Grant, what do you like about yourself?
So I like that I always end up in situations that it's like a sitcom, for example. Things always happen to me. Like I picked the buggy with the wonky wheel in, Costco. Things like that. I'm the first one to laugh at myself. I was never like that before, but I come to like to laugh at myself.
Mm.
That was a big stepping stone for me.
Awesome.
Before I would just be, so embarrassed and ashamed and just shut away. But now, I laugh at myself first.
Amazing.
How about you?
What about you? Me?
Me?
You go first, Eric.
I like that no matter what situation I get put in or how hard it is, I still find a way to triumph and get through it. Definitely. It doesn't matter how hard, being a single father, dealing with so much in my life, doesn't matter what the situation is. I always
persevere.
Persevere, that's it. I always persevere, and I find the strength that's in me, and I make it happen.
Beautiful.
Your turn.
I would say, if we're digging really deep, that I'm beginning to realize through a lot of interactions with people that despite my physical appearance, people feel that I'm a very safe place to divulge, not like terrible information, but safe enough to be emotionally vulnerable with. I've had a lot of weird scenarios where I end up in, we'll call them TED Talks, with people in instances where they realistically I shouldn't say shouldn't be happening, but in the least expected areas. I've had instances I was working at a woman's house, and I don't know this woman any better than the person who walks by my house. And we got into conversation about her son being in prison because he got drunk and drove his car. He's an alcoholic, and he drove his car and hit an ambulance. And I don't think he killed anybody, but he's in jail. And the amount of information this woman divulged to me, and as soon as she was done, she's like, I'm sorry I just told you all that. And I'm like, no, like, it's okay. Like, I feel like I emanate some form of no judgment, and people feel safe opening up to me. And it makes me feel really good that they feel safe enough. Like, it makes me feel good that that's the type of vibe that I give off, because my appearance gives off the vibe that I'll stab you in the fucking neck. So that's what I would say I like about myself. People feel safe around me.
Yeah, I can see that.
Thank you.
And that's why you're a host on here, man. You know what I mean? That's why.
Thank you. Should I ask the question?
I was just going to say, I want to hear the question.
So at the end of every episode, Grant, I always just ask the guest this question. What's your message to the world in one sentence?
You are perfect as you are. There's nothing wrong with you.
Beautiful.
Fuck, I feel like I needed that. Holy shit. What do you mean? Did we have a conversation about me before the episode?
That's awesome.
No, that is amazing.
Well, Grant, I have to say it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. You just what you're doing for the community out there, and what you've been through, and then what you've changed from pain into power is just beautiful. I have to say, it's just men like you coming on the show, and coming from, like I said, pain, changing it and helping other men is just we love that. This is what Raw Minds is really about.
And pain into power,
Pardon me, say that again.
They have to steal that pain into power.
No, do it, man. Please go ahead.
You know what? A fucking guest probably said it to us and we took it from them. So it's all good, man.
But it's true, you know what I mean? And I love, like, the guests that come on, and they like we were talking earlier, their pain and then into power, and you're I can't even speak right now.
You're not gonna be sick, are you?
No, I'm yeah. I don't know. I'm a little messed up. I didn't have much sleep last night. I was waking up every hour.
You've got some blockage there, buddy.
Definitely.
You gotta work through it.
And it ain't in here. No, but what I was trying to say is, like, where you come and where you are, and just like how powerful, and you're helping other people is just, it's amazing. And guests like you that come on our show is just what Raw Minds is about, to show other people, that what you're doing, and like, it's okay, it's okay to feel those ways, but it's not okay to stay in it. And you weren't okay to stay in it. You did something about it, and now you're paying it forward by helping others. And it's so powerful. It's amazing. It really is. And I can't thank you enough. It's a pleasure to have you on our show. You're more than welcome to come back anytime.
Definitely.
And you are part of the Raw Minds family now, man. So you're fucked.
Yeah. You are the epitome. No,
That's the word I was trying to say.
I know, I can't even say it. I had a feeling, but I didn't want to fucking... I've already corrected you like twice on words tonight. I didn't want to go for 3. But you are the epitome of what Raw Mind stands for, man. Like, that's you, the way you came out and articulated it, and the way this conversation just genuinely flowed, and the information that was exposed tonight. I feel like this was a very informative episode.
Definitely.
Thank you.
And raw, like comfortably sharing not only mine, but everybody's emotions and their struggles the way that we did. Like, we've had some pretty crazy guests on, so we've kind of taken the attention away from the core of why we're here. Like, Peter he's a fucking miracle, dude. He's a miracle. And we're super grateful to have him come on and tell his story the way he told it, and give him the spotlight and have genuine conversation with him. But I feel like this was a beautiful segue back into our regular scheduled programming kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, this was a beautiful, beautiful episode.
Thank you.
and bringing us back to what our core is, man. So thank you so much for being here.
You guys made me feel very welcome. You're great guys. Feels like I've known you for a long time.
Yeah,
And
well, you're fucked because you're going to now.
I'll call you at 5 a.m. after I'm done watching my motivational videos. Like, I'm going
know
to the gym.
That's how it is. Like we're just two normal dudes, that just like I said early before I hit play. We're just it's just three dudes talking shit, and that's at the end of the day, that's it is. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're live on TikTok and Facebook and YouTube and Twitch and a couple others. But at the end of the day, like, no offense to everybody watching, but this is all about Grant, right? And this is his story. We're all about you, man, and that's what it is. Just three guys talking shit, and what an amazing episode, man! Really, what an
Yeah.
like.
I really appreciate it. And I hope
Thank
that
you.
listeners and viewers learned something, pulled
Yes.
something, at least one thing from this conversation.
Exactly,
to help
and
them.
check them out. Check out his socials. They'll be
Yeah.
down below in the description. Please, go show some love. Even if just go take a look. It may not be for you, but at least take that step and go take a look and just who knows? Maybe it is, right? Who knows? And
At least has the tools to help someone that may
exactly.
someday.
Yeah, or if like if you know someone that needs the help, man, just shoot those links over to the person that needs the help, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, everybody is struggling in this world. Doesn't matter. You walk by anybody, everybody has a problem. Everybody's a problem, So
But in
don't.
saying that, I just felt like that was a perfect segue. In saying that everybody has a problem, everybody has a story as well.
That's what I
So
mean.
if you would like to come onto this podcast and sit where Grant is sitting, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can reach out to us on our website. I think we have a page where they can connect with us on our website. Do we have that,
Yes.
Eric?
Yes, the about.
We do?
Or no,
Yep, so-
connect us.
Yeah, so connect on our website. You can go there, shoot us an email there, or if you still want to do it the old-fashioned way, hit us up at rawmindspodcast@gmail.com.
Wait,
Give us a little-
wait. Hold on. We have our new email address. We're gonna start slowly shifting over.
Isn't that the one that's connected to the Connect Us, though?
No, I gotta connect it all.
Oh, so it's not connected.
No, that one's still connected. That one's connected to rawminds@gmail. I gotta switch it all over.
Okay. Yeah, so
So
hit us
ne-
up. You
Well-
say another one. You go.
No. All I'm saying is, in the next couple of weeks, we will be changing the email address because we just got the website. We got our email address proper now, so we're legit. So look out for in the next couple of weeks. We will be changing our email address. That's
Yes.
all I was trying to say.
Yes. We will get that changed and we will notify you formally of when that's done. But that email, if you choose to go that route, is
connect@rawminds.
there you go. And again, I just want to say thank you, Grant, so much for coming out, man. It was a pleasure. And I'm just telling you now that this will not be yours and my last conversation. We'll probably have one after this, and I'm probably going to connect with you tomorrow.
Perfect.
Tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow. I'd like to do that.
Yep,
So-
absolutely.
Amazing,
Awesome.
my friend.
Put all our text away. So
Yeah,
Please.
and honestly, I'd love for you to come back and share a little bit more
Yeah.
of maybe some of your programs for people to check out as well, and maybe a little bit in depth without giving too much away. You know,
Mhm.
if that makes sense. And I mean, this has been such a great episode. So
right there.
awesome. All right, well, everybody, thank you again.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks.
We'll see you next week.
Take it easy, everybody. And that's it for us. There we are.